residents meet.
She was a lovable person, very friendly, outgoing. She's always been a hard worker, always.
So it only made sense that she'd meet the man of her dreams on the job.
Can I take you out sometime?
I'd love that.
As they grew to know each other, they became an item.
She thought she had this picturesque future ahead of her.
But that picturesque future crumbles in a matter of seconds.
They observed a young woman lying on the ground in a pool of blood. She'd been shot 5 times in her upper torso.
They observed a white male on the front porch.
The house was completely ransacked.
What initially appears to be a simple robbery gone wrong is anything but.
This is where I need you to be honest with me.
He was actually having an affair.
I definitely felt like there was jealousy there.
Hey, come listen to this.
Both of them snakes. They trying to put it all on me.
He told me he had killed someone.
It is diabolical. Absolute malice, absolute deprivation.
Yo, bro. Wanna hear a crazy story?
She was definitely more than my best friend. She was more like my sister.
No, stop.
We're not supposed to be in like this. I swear to God, it was.
March 4th, 2015, Warrenton, Georgia. It's a quiet Wednesday morning in this charming town situated 100 miles east of Atlanta.
Warrenton, Georgia is between 5,000 and 6,000 population-wise. So it is a very, very small community.
Does it have crimes there? Yes. Are crimes very prevalent there? No.
Most people there are just good old calm country folks that go to work and come home and enjoy life.
At 11 a.m., Warrenton resident Donnie Brock is driving past his cousin's home when something catches him off guard.
As he approaches the home, he sees 2 men sprint across the street and get into a silver pickup truck before speeding off.
But that's not all.
He sees an individual lying motionless on the front porch of that residence.
Oh my God.
Donnie immediately calls his cousin, Sam Murphy, who owns the home.
Yo.
Man, I think there's a dead body on your front porch.
What? Yo, call police. I'll be over there as soon as I can.
Donnie hangs up with his cousin and makes the call to 911.
Yes, hi. We need some assistance on Mitchell Road.
When law enforcement arrived at the residence, they observed a white male on the front porch.
He's laying in a pool of blood and looks to have several gunshot wounds.
No pulse.
It's clear he has succumbed to his injuries. There is no use trying to save him.
Let's clear the home.
Not knowing what they'll find inside, police open the front door with guns drawn, keeping their eyes peeled for a possible suspect.
The house was completely ransacked. Items were completely turned upside down, drawers pulled out, stuff dumped on the floor.
Someone or some people were going through drawers and flipping over the beds and like they were searching for something.
And in the master bedroom, police realize they have a second victim on their hands.
They observed a young woman lying on the ground in a pool of blood. She'd been shot 5 times in her upper torso.
There were zip ties placed around her wrist.
They determined that she did not have a pulse.
We've got another victim in here, guys.
But who is she?
Where's Tanisha? Is she okay?
When the homeowner, Sam Murphy, arrives at the crime scene, investigators learn the female victim is his girlfriend, Tanisha Posley.
He's completely distraught. He says she was the love of his life.
28-year-old Tanisha Posley was the full package.
She was beautiful and stood out because of her looks, but she also had this incredibly warm personality.
She was a lovable person, very friendly, outgoing, loved to do hair. loved kids, loved spending time with her nieces.
She had a 9-year-old daughter that she had given birth to as a teenager, and that little girl was her whole world.
She had her daughter in January of 2006, and she loved her daughter. They were very close.
As a young single mom, Tanisha worked hard to provide for her daughter.
She made the best of it by working at the dollar store, where everyone loved her.
Have a good one.
She's always been a hard worker, always.
And it was at work in 2014 when Tanisha's beauty caught someone's eye.
You find everything okay?
Yeah, I did, thanks. How was your day?
Good. Thanks for asking.
His name was Sam Murphy.
There was a definite attraction that neither of them could deny.
Sam was also a single father,
He had a 2-year-old child.
and that stood out to her as someone who was responsible and loved their child.
This may be a bit forward of me, but can I take you out sometime?
I'd love that.
As they talked and grew to know each other, that relationship ultimately became romantic, and they became an item.
Tanisha saw Sam as someone who was established in life and could help provide for her and her daughter.
He treated her right and treated her with respect. That's all that mattered to me. And she was happy.
So when Sam asked her to move in with him at his home on the outskirts of Warrington, Tanisha was ecstatic.
She thought she had this picturesque future ahead of her with Sam.
They were a really, really nice couple.
But now, instead of getting to enjoy their happily ever after, tragedy has struck, and Tanisha Posley has been found shot to death inside her and Sam's bedroom.
The question now is, how did she end up dead inside of their residence?
And Tanisha isn't the only victim at the crime scene.
There's a man on the front porch who's also succumbed to several gunshot wounds.
Police need to identify this second victim immediately.
Everything seemed to be going right for 28-year-old Tanisha Posley after she fell for a man named Sam Murphy.
She was happy. I mean, like in any other relationship, you have problems. But for the most part, she was happy.
But now, Georgia police are at the couple's rural Warren County home, where Tanisha has been discovered bound and shot.
Just before this, Sam's cousin spotted 2 mysterious individuals fleeing from the home in a silver pickup truck.
Sam seems absolutely distraught about what happened to Tanisha.
I can't believe what's happening,
We're
man.
gonna give you some time to calm down, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Police eventually take him back to the station to give a statement.
Meanwhile, homicide detectives work on identifying the second victim, a middle-aged man who has also suffered several gunshot wounds.
Found it. Oh, good.
There's an ID on him.
The male victim is 47-year-old Barry Johnson.
Barry Johnson was a construction worker and a beloved member of the neighboring community of Glasscock.
Barry was my brother. He was 18 months younger than me. Barry was a very kind person. He would do anything for you. Yeah.
He was gentle, goofy, kinda. He loved people. He's always there for people.
He loved kids, and he was an inspiration to my children. There's really no words to describe losing a sibling, your best friend.
Barry has been shot 8 times in the chest and shoulder.
Whoever shot Barry caught him by surprise because in his hand he was still holding his cigarettes.
Investigators believe Barry's killers fired the shots from inside the home.
On the inside of the residence, you have these 9mm casings on the floor and the storm door. You could see where the gunfire had went through the glass, striking Johnson out on the porch. So We got gunfire originating from inside the residence going out.
As law enforcement continued their investigation, they observed the entry point that would have been made during the robbery.
These individuals ran up, threw a brick through the glass door at the back of the residence, shattered it, and that was their entry into the residence.
Inside the home, investigators locate additional evidence that suggests a potential motive for the robbery.
They observed drug paraphernalia along with burner phones, and they determined that this could possibly have been a drug house.
To investigators, it's clear they're dealing with a robbery gone wrong.
But what isn't clear is, what was Barry Johnson doing here? What's his connection to Sam and Tanisha?
In their search for answers, detectives return to police headquarters and sit down with the homeowner, Sam Murphy.
Sam was very distraught and concerned for what has happened.
Everybody love it, man. That's why I can't see no love. That's why they even do that, man.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
That was my lifeline. That girl was my lifeline. But she want everything. Financially, mentally, everything.
Even though Sam is upset, detectives have some tough questions they need to ask him.
All right, this is where I need you to be honest with me.
Yep, I was too hard to tell you.
Okay. Have you been selling dope?
I'm sorry.
All right. What do you sell? Marijuana?
No, Fred.
During our interview with Sam Murphy, he admitted to us that he was a drug dealer and that he often dealt drugs from his residence, and it was not uncommon for people to come by his residence to purchase crack cocaine.
So some people do know where you live then?
Yeah, yes, so.
I mean,
about 3, 4, something.
He did advise that he only sold to just a few close people to him.
Which is where Barry Johnson comes in.
What he told us was that's the reason Barry Johnson was at his residence to purchase crack cocaine.
Sam believes Barry and Tanisha were just collateral damage in the assailant's plot to rob him of his drugs.
Sam did advise law enforcement that he felt that he was the intended target.
They kill her, they gonna down some kill me if I've been though.
But the question is, why wasn't Sam at home when the break-in took place?
That's when Sam drops a bombshell that will turn the case on its head.
I want to see a female.
He had to reveal that he was actually having an affair with another woman.
Investigators in Warren County, Georgia, are speaking with Sam Murphy about the robbery gone wrong that took the life of his girlfriend, Tanisha Posley, and another man named Barry Johnson.
I started getting all these calls in Messenger, and people were saying, you know, is it true? Did Tanisha get killed? And I just remember just dropping my phone on the floor because I had no words. And I couldn't believe it because I just talked to her. It definitely left a void because she was definitely more than my best friend. She was more like my sister.
It's possible Sam Murphy was the intended target, and Tanisha and Barry were just collateral damage.
Sam admits that he'd been dealing drugs out of the home, and illegal drug activity tends to go hand in hand with violence.
They kill her, they gonna down some kill me if I've been though.
But why wasn't Sam at home when the burglary occurred?
At this point in the interrogation, Sam reveals a very important piece of information.
I want to see a female.
He had to reveal that he was actually having an affair with another woman.
What's the female's name?
Germany.
Franklin.
Germanique is someone Sam actually dated before he met Tanisha. In fact, she previously lived with him at the same home where the robbery happened.
He admitted that they had recently reconnected and started having an affair behind Tunisia's back.
Sometimes they would plan to have rendezvous with each other. Sometimes there would just be spur-of-the-moment encounters.
And on the day of the murder, Sam claims he had spent the entire afternoon with Germanique.
All right, where'd y'all meet at?
The Midwest.
He told us he drove to Rennes, Georgia, which is probably about 15 miles away, and had a rendezvous or sexual relationship with Germanique Franklin.
He was there when he got the call about Tunisia.
Detectives are eager to speak with Germanique to confirm Sam's story.
When they contact her, she's very forthcoming and willing to help.
Thanks for coming in to speak with us, Germanique.
Of course.
Now, let's start with your relationship with Sam Murphy. Were you in a sexual relationship with him?
Yes.
She essentially verified the information that Sam Murphy had provided us in that they had met at this particular hotel for sexual purposes.
So you can confirm he was with you at the hotel from 10 to 11 a.m. this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I still have the hotel receipts.
They're essentially able to confirm that Sam and Germanique were indeed at the hotel when the murders took place.
In their eyes, these two people are innocent.
For investigators, the key to solving this case is tracking down the two mystery men Donnie Brock saw fleeing from the crime scene that day. But police aren't getting any closer to locating them.
Every lead that they had, every follow-up that they did, led to a dead end.
The case wasn't going anywhere at that point.
Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. The case had gone cold.
And after 6 months, nearly everyone has given up hope that justice will ever be served for Tunisia and Barry.
It was hard because the entire family and people that knew her, we were hurt.
It was like I was in a nightmare, still in disbelief the whole time because you don't have closure. You don't know who it is yet. You don't know why they done it. You don't know anything.
It was just a whole bunch of stuff. Nobody had any real answers.
But on September 30th, detectives finally catch a break in the case.
I received a call from a defense attorney telling me that an individual by the name of Reggie Hines, who was incarcerated at the McDuffie County Jail in Thompson, Georgia, had information on the double homicide that occurred on Mitchell Road.
We'll be right there. Thanks. We gotta go.
Of course, I immediately traveled to the jail and I met with Reggie Hines.
How you doing?
All right, you making it all right?
What?
Inmate Hines informed the officers that he was bunkmates with an individual by the name of Eric Snyder.
Y'all are in the same cell block. Is that right? Same block?
Yes.
Reggie says a few days ago, Eric revealed some surprising information to him.
Yo, bro, you want to hear a crazy story?
According to Reggie, Eric told him that he was involved in the double homicide that took place on Mitchell Road.
6 months after Tunisia Posley and Barry Johnson were found shot to death, Georgia investigators have received a promising tip from a local inmate.
Reggie Hines told me that he had spoken with another inmate named Eric Snyder, who told him about the homicides in Warren County.
Y'all are in the same cell block. Is that right? Same block?
Yes.
And according to Reggie, Eric also named his co-conspirator.
That was me and my friend Donovan.
Eric had told him in confidence that he and Donovan Fitz were the perpetrators of the double homicide.
Man, what happened? So it was just supposed to be a robbery.
This guy already had drugs in the Warrington. They're going to do this right away.
But they weren't expecting Tunisia to be there.
Oh my God.
Oh, no, come here.
They subdued Miss Posley and tied her up.
Then the two men proceeded to turn the place upside down, taking anything valuable they could find, including $8,000 in cash and drugs.
Something happened where Paul Fitzgerald's name, which is Donovan, next to the girl.
Yo, Donovan, did you check the bathroom yet, bro? Yo, what the hell, man?
And Donovan snapped. We called our real name and found her.
Donovan was scared that she may be able to identify him later on, since she knows his real name, so he didn't want to risk letting her live.
So he snapped and he shot the girl.
No, stop, please, you don't have to do this.
Well, who shot the girl?
Donovan.
With one murder already on their hands, the thieves were ready to leave. But that's when they heard a knock at the front door.
Who thought the nigga was knocking on the door and I heard the shots.
But in reality, it wasn't the neighbor. It was Barry Johnson who was there to visit Sam.
Sam! Barry! Everything okay in there?
He went in the door and been shot. Empty gun.
The investigators' suspicions are certainly piqued by what they're learning, but they'll need more than a jailhouse tip to make any sort of moves on Donovan and Eric.
Good luck to you, man. And I appreciate what you told me.
Neither of the men have a silver pickup truck registered to them, but that's the type of car witnesses saw fleeing from the crime scene. So there still seemed to be a big puzzle piece missing in this investigation.
Can Eric Snyder help fill in the missing piece?
After speaking with Reggie Hines, detectives sit down with Eric Snyder.
He's currently incarcerated for a separate robbery that took place a few days after the double homicide.
I interviewed Eric Snyder at the McDuffie County Jail and explained to him that we knew he was involved in a double homicide that occurred on Mitchell Road in Warren County, Georgia.
Right off the bat, Eric just denies.
Well, I didn't know nothing about the murder. I'm gun using the murder. I ain't had nothing to do with it.
According to him, he's never been anywhere near the house on Mitchell Road and never said anything to Reggie Hines about participating in the homicides.
No, I didn't talk to anybody about it. I never talked to anybody about it.
So if anybody told us any information that you relayed to them about this homicide or any other homicide, saying that you were involved, that would be...
It's a complete lie.
A lie.
Eric even claims to have an alibi.
He said he was in court for a possessions charge at the time the double homicide took place.
I had court that day in Richmond County. And I think I had to be at 8:30. I don't believe it starts about 9. After I got out of court, we went straight to my house. They were probably about 12:31.
However, Eric does admit that he saw his friend Donovan Fitz later that same day, and Donovan wasn't alone.
Donovan had his girlfriend with him, and his girlfriend was Germanique Franklin.
In September of 2015, Georgia investigators are speaking with murder suspect Eric Snyder.
After receiving a tip from a local inmate, police believe Eric and his friend Donovan are involved in the double homicide of Tunisia Posley and Barry Johnson.
But Eric insists he's innocent.
It's a complete lie.
He quickly wanted to dispel the fact that he had anything to do with this murder.
He claimed he was at a court hearing for an unrelated drug possession charge at the time the homicide took place.
However, Eric admits that he and Donovan met up later that afternoon.
Donovan came over to Eric's place with his girlfriend, Germanique Franklin.
Investigators immediately recognize Germanique's name.
Tunisia Posley's boyfriend, Sam Murphy, was admittedly having an affair with Germanique Franklin. and they were together at a local hotel when the homicide took place.
But just like Sam, Germanique was in another relationship.
This entire time, she's been in a relationship with Donovan Fitz, who is now a suspect in the murder of Sam's girlfriend. This seemed like more than just a coincidence.
Eric tells detectives that when Donovan and Germanique arrived at his home, something immediately seemed off.
They came to my house, I think it was about 2:30, maybe. He was sweating, looking kind of nervous, so I was like, what's going on?
I better go inside the house right quick. I'm talk to my homeboy about something.
All right. Eric claims he never anticipated what Donovan said next.
He said he had went to rob a house in Warrenton, and he told me he had killed someone.
Well, how many people were shot?
He said it was 2 people.
Okay, when Donovan told you what he had done, was she present?
No, ma'am, she wasn't present. We was outside talking. She was in the house.
So it was never all three of y'all discussing what happened.
Eric claims that Donovan had committed these murders by himself.
But investigators aren't going to just take his word for it.
They still suspect that he was involved in the crime and was there with Donovan that morning.
Back at the station, detectives take a closer look at Eric's alibi for the morning of March 4th.
He told us that he, in fact, was in court in Richmond County Misdemeanor Court that morning and could not have been a part of that homicide. Well, I spoke with the attorney, and she said it was a situation where the attorneys stand up for their clients and say whether they're going to plead guilty or not guilty. And a lot of times the defendants don't show up. And there's really no way of knowing if Eric had actually showed up for court or not.
Eric's alibi was not as ironclad as he claimed it to be.
Investigators still had a lot of work to do in unraveling what really happened here.
With Eric already behind bars on the unrelated crime, investigators move in on Donovan Fitz next.
Donovan Fitz was working at a construction site, and we had information that he was going to be at work that day. We came in, we saw him get out the vehicle, and we jumped out and we took him into custody.
Even back at police headquarters, Donovan refuses to cooperate with authorities.
He was very argumentative. He did not want any part of saying anything.
I have nothing to say to you.
He told me that he had an attorney, and of course I did not attempt to question him any further, and he was taken to jail.
But there's one more person investigators want to speak with. Germanique Franklin.
Now that they know she was in a relationship with one of the suspects in the double homicide, they bring her in for a second interview.
So we've learned some new information since the last time we spoke with you.
Okay.
Your boyfriend, Donovan Fitz, has been implicated as one of the men involved in the double homicide.
What?
Did you know he was involved?
No, of course not.
She claimed she had no involvement or any knowledge of what had occurred on Winter Road. She completely denied being involved in the homicide.
Hitting a dead end with Germanique and Donovan, investigators decide to execute a search warrant on their shared home.
They were looking for any sort of concrete physical evidence that could tie the couple to the double homicide.
And eventually, they find just what they're looking for.
Police locate several 9mm shell casings inside the home.
These casings were from the same type of gun that killed Tanisha Posley and Barry Johnson.
And when detectives get their hands on the couple's phone records, they uncover more evidence against them.
Investigators obtain phone records showing that Donovan called Germanique 6 times during the break-in.
They were in constant communication while the robbery and subsequent homicide was going on.
Even without a confession, investigators are starting to paint a clear picture of what happened the morning of March 4th.
They believe the trio wanted to commit a robbery for some quick cash.
Knowing that her ex, Sam Murphy, dealt drugs and kept a lot of cash in the home, Germanique offered him up as the perfect target.
She lured him to the hotel for sex while Donovan and Eric broke into the home.
And Tanisha and Barry were collateral damage.
No, stop, please, you don't have to do it!
Investigators charge Eric Snyder, Donovan Fitz, and Germanique Franklin with felony murder.
In Georgia, if you aid or abet in a crime, you can be charged with that crime. Now, it's clear that the female defendant was not in the house when the murders occurred, but what is very obvious is that she set these murders up. So that's why she was charged.
However, the circumstantial nature of this case will make for a challenging trial.
It can be really difficult when you don't have that smoking gun sometimes, because especially in this day and age, a jury really wants to be 130% sure. They want the DNA, and we didn't have that.
They had 3 individuals in custody, all telling conflicting stories against each other. So it was clearly a case that relied on one co-defendant telling on another.
But on March 6, 2017, as investigators prepare for trial, they get the break they've been looking for to solidify their case.
Hey, come listen to this.
They had the conversations made through the jailhouse of Donovan speaking to his sister.
Hello? What's up, sister? You asleep? I didn't need to call.
In cell phone calls that Fitz had made while he was in jail talking to his sister, he admitted being part of the double homicide.
It wasn't supposed to end like this. It wasn't, man. I swear to God it wasn't.
2 years after the double homicide of Tanisha Posley and Barry Johnson, Georgia investigators have finally charged 3 alleged co-conspirators with the crime: Eric Snyder, Donovan Fitz, and his girlfriend, Germanique Franklin.
Investigators were a little concerned going into the trial because of how circumstantial their case was. None of the defendants had actually confessed to their involvement.
There really wasn't a smoking gun.
Until investigators receive a damning new piece of evidence on March 6th.
Come listen to this.
When making calls from the jail, Donovan Fitz literally confessed to the crime to his sister.
So you did the shoe? No, but I was there. I had a big part of. Why did you do it? I needed money. I needed everything. I mean, I ain't worth that though, boo. I know, man. I know. I f***ed up. It wasn't supposed to go like that, man. It wasn't supposed to end like this, man.
And he also talked about that they didn't intend to kill anyone and that it just happened.
However, most damning of all is what Donovan says about his co-defendants, Eric Snyder and Germanique Franklin.
Both of them snakes. Germanique trying to put it all on me, like I'm just a crazy boyfriend. She the one who told me about it, where his house was and everything.
And everybody said she was a mastermind behind it. She was the one who did it, like she had something to do with it.
Yeah.
He had named Germanique Franklin as setting it up, knowing the residence, knowing the fact that there would be money and drugs at the residence. He claimed that it was Germanique's idea for them to go over there.
We need to get this to the state attorney's office immediately.
You bet we do.
When the trio's murder trial gets underway in August 2017, prosecutors don't hold back.
In the opening arguments, prosecutors contend that the crime organized by Germanique Franklin and committed by her boyfriend, Donovan Fitz, and his friend, Eric Snyder, was brutal beyond belief.
Germanique knew exactly what she was doing. I believe that she may have thought that there was a possibility that Tanisha could have been inside of the home.
For her, it wasn't just about the money, but there was a level of jealousy that the female defendant would have had to the new girlfriend.
I just know from being a woman that You know, when you have a good relationship with someone, you'll have other women out there that are jealous of what you have. You will have females, you know, that just want your life. So I kind of feel like, you know, she knew Tanisha. She knew what type of person she was. So I definitely felt like there was jealousy there.
After Germanique lured Sam to the hotel for sex, Donovan and Eric made their move.
They throw the brick through the glass door and go in.
Before Tanisha had a chance to react, they tied her up with zip ties and left her helpless on the bedroom floor while they ransacked her home.
The male defendants attempt to steal money, drugs, anything that they could find.
But just as they were finishing up, they made a grave mistake.
Yo, Donovan, did you check the bathroom, bro? Yo, man, what the hell, man? What?
Donovan's real name had been used. And because of that, Donovan believed that he could not leave her alive.
No, stop, please, you don't have to do this.
She was shot 5 times.
However, before the killers could make their escape, another witness showed up, Barry Johnson.
Sam. He came to the house, perhaps to buy narcotics or to visit. He had no idea probably what was going on in the home, just really an innocent bystander.
Barry was shot 8 times.
After Barry was dead, the assailants collected a few more items from the home before fleeing in the silver pickup truck.
They fled in a vehicle that they borrowed from a friend and never looked back.
When the prosecution rests, they feel confident in their case. But the defense throws them a curveball no one sees coming.
They decide to zero in on Eric Snyder's alibi, that he was in court for drug possession charges on the morning of the homicide.
The defense subpoenas Eric's previous attorney to testify as to whether or not Eric was really in court when he said he was.
She couldn't testify that he had been in court the day of the murders, but she was able to testify that she did not have in her notes that he wasn't there.
To prosecutors, the alibi is flimsy either way.
Court is not all day, and I think that still gave him the opportunity to commit the murders.
However, the defense's strategy raises enough doubt in the minds of jurors.
In a strange twist, Eric was found not guilty because his alibi of being in court could not be broken.
However, the jury isn't as forgiving towards the other 2 defendants.
The jury was able to find Donovan and Germanique guilty.
They were both convicted of felony murder and sentenced to life in prison.
After waiting over 2 years to see justice served, the victims' loved ones are disappointed that only 2 individuals are charged for a crime they believe was carried out by 3 co-conspirators.
To doing something and then they're still out on the streets while he's not. He's gone. So I don't understand. I still to today don't understand how anybody could set up and do anything.
It's just something that you have to learn to cope with and deal with as time passes. But it never gets easier.
That's all you can do is take it day by day. But it does make it easier knowing that at least 2 of them are in prison. They will never, ever, ever get out.
And this is just a case that was an absolute tragedy. It takes absolute malice, absolute deprivation of life, and just a cold heart to shoot 2 people over drugs, over money, and over jealousy.
When Tanisha Posley started dating Sam Murphy, she never could have expected that he'd start an affair that would end in her death.
Cơ hội để tổ chức một tình huống phản công cho đội bóng. Thủ môn đã cản phá xuất sắc. Một kỳ vọng vô cùng hoàn hảo.
Một chân sút thứ hạng trong trận đấu ngày hôm nay. Bàn thắng quá hoàn hảo.
Bàn thắng đã tới sau pha điểm bóng đơn giản từ tình huống cản phá trước đó của thủ môn. Vâng, tỷ số lúc này đang là 4-0. Một tình huống dứt điểm. Cú sút đưa bóng đi trúng cột.
Ném biên cho Manchester City.
Anh ấy đang chuẩn bị thực hiện pha tạt bóng.
Mark Albrighton đã nổ súng phát ghi bàn đẳng cấp.
Một tình huống ghi bàn rất ấn tượng của cầu thủ đó.
Đó là pha dàn xếp tạt bóng từ bên phía cánh trái hoàn hảo và bàn thắng đã được ghi. Đó là pha đánh đầu hoàn hảo, một bàn thắng tuyệt vời.
Họ đang dẫn trước với khoảng cách khá xa. Một tình huống dứt điểm, pha ghi bàn cực kỳ đẳng cấp.
Bàn thắng đã tới, thật sự đơn giản khi có tới hai cầu thủ áp sát thủ môn.
Tỷ số lúc này đang là vô cùng cách biệt rồi. Rodrigo. Một tình huống phản công nhanh, một siêu phẩm đã được vẽ ra.
Đáng tiếc khi bàn thắng không được công nhận. Một tình huống việt vị.
Rodrigo. Đó là pha phản công. Một cú sút. Một bàn thắng tuyệt vời.
Đó là một chân sút đẳng cấp, một cơ hội không thể tuyệt vời hơn.
Đội bóng giành chiến thắng đã chơi áp đảo trong suốt thời gian đã qua với thế trận một chiều.
Tchouaméni.
Vinicius Junior.
Casemiro.
Đó là tình huống phân bóng lên cho thủ môn.
Christian Eriksen.